federal government. And because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay.
Vollmer tells me she's actually the one who posts videos to the airport's monitors, but when she reviewed this specific video beforehand, she says,
I was a little concerned when I saw the messaging in there.
Vollmer says the head of the airport and their attorneys then advised her not to play it because under Utah law, you cannot display political messages on city-owned equipment like the monitors in the airport. And Vollmer told me if the video was taking shots at a different political party, their decision would have been the same.
This is not a partisan issue. This is totally based on political messaging.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Police are searching for the man accused of robbing and shooting a 40-year-old man near Main Street Park in Sandy last night. Police say the victim, identified as Josh Pechtel, died at the hospital.
He was subsequently transported to Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, and unfortunately since then we have been told that he has passed away.
Sandy Police Sergeant Michael Olson says they don't believe there's any sort of threat to the public. They believe the victim and the shooter knew each other. We are also told there were other people who witnessed the shooting, and they are cooperating with investigators. A group cleaning the site of I-15 in Washington City in southern Utah made a grim discovery when they found a human skull. It was discovered on the side of the road and reported to the Utah Highway Patrol. UHP Sergeant Mike Alexander says they are now working with the State Bureau of Investigations to identify the remains. A Texas man is facing felony charges after police say he decided to take a tour of RSL Stadium in Sandy, and he really wanted a Diet Coke. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Police say Sean Matthews decided to visit RSL Stadium at about 3 a.m. last week. The doors, they weren't open, of course, so he apparently climbed the wall to get in. Police responded to a trespassing call and say Matthews' movements, they were caught on surveillance video. And he must have been thirsty because the court documents say he used a pole to break into a refrigerator and he got a Diet Coke. Damage to that fridge, it's estimated at over $17,000. And when police caught up to him, they say he was seated in a stadium chair. He's now charged with burglary and property damage. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. The Senate is expected to vote on a spending bill today, but it is not expected to pass. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reports.
Meanwhile, as the federal government shutdown enters its third week, the Treasury Secretary says the economy is starting to feel the effects. Millions of federal workers have now received their final paycheck, and the Trump administration has fired more than 4,000 federal workers, including many inside the Department of Education. Sources say the special education staff has been decimated.
Officials at the Atlanta airport are helping employees get by during the shutdown.
TSA employees at Hartsfield-Jackson have been on the job without pay since the government shutdown started on October 1st. Today they are receiving meal vouchers for use at any of the airport's restaurants. Aaron Barker, president of the local TSA Workers Union, says,
being that these officers have not received a full paycheck, any little thing as far as a meal, gas, or whatever the case is a help.
Full-time officers will get 2 free meal vouchers while part-time employees will receive 1. Jonathan O'Brien, ABC News, Atlanta.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says it's up to the Senate Democrats to reopen the government.
Their position is they want to spend $1.5 trillion in your tax dollars to fund nonsense overseas. They want to give $200 billion to illegal aliens. We are not going to do that.
Johnson also told reporters this could be the longest government shutdown in history. The longest shutdown that we've had in recent years was during President Trump's first term in 2019. It lasted 35 days. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Federal workers are turning to side hustles to get by while the shutdown continues. That includes gigs on platforms like DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, Rover, and others. Wall Street Journal reports more than 3% of employed Americans worked for online platforms in 2022. New evidence shows American workers are holding on to their jobs for dear life while others can't get hired. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
A survey conducted by a major industry group finds that 32% of small businesses had job openings that they could not fill last month. The NFIB monthly jobs report shows that 88% of those companies found few or no qualified candidates for positions they had posted.
64% of owners reporting that supply chain issues are affecting their operations. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. No accidents to begin our noontime drive this Tuesday, but we have had some busy and slower traffic eastbound to I-84 approaching the Highway 89 junction. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA Weight Loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the partner program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA Weight Loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
1847. Our home Utah takes shape. A century later, Utah's home champion is born. Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has earned the trust of over 250,000 Utah homeowners, with techs who rise above to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Championing the spirit of 47, Whipple is offering $47 off any home repair or service, including drain clearings. Act now and call Whipple Service Champions at 801-896-1947 for the win today.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. The Salt Lake City Airport says they are not going to air a video from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem because it's against their policy of airing political messaging on city-owned equipment. KSL News Time, 12:08. University of Utah will start covering full tuition for Utah students whose families earn less than $100,000 a year. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The scholarship is called the Utah Promise and is available for first-time students who are residents of Utah, have a 3.5 or higher GPA, and whose families make less than six figures. President Taylor Randall says they've been working on this for the past year and a half.
Our objective with this is to make sure there is radical affordability at the University of Utah, which will increase access for families that sometimes don't think they can afford our education.
He says this is just the first step and to expect more changes in the future. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
The Davis School District is keeping its Spanish immersion program, but the future of the French immersion program is now in question. KSL.com reports the district is looking at the participation levels in each school and considering combining the program at South Davis with Mueller Park Junior High. There will be a public hearing to discuss the change on October 23rd. A federal appeals court overruled a lower court saying Salt Lake City School District violated a student's rights when they assigned him to a school for students with severe disabilities without doing an individual assessment.
My hope is we set a precedence that for other kids that come behind him.
Clayton Sandy tells KSL TV his son Henry should have had individualized education program under the Disabilities Act. His son has Down syndrome and is now enjoying his time as a freshman at East High School. He hopes the court's ruling helps other kids with disabilities. The Salt Lake City School District says it cannot comment on ongoing cases. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky, what a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day for a drive, and right now we have a nice commute in progress on I-15 both directions between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. Now, we did have a little bit of slowing on the eastbound side of I-84 in the South Weber area after Adams Avenue Parkway over to almost the Highway 89 junction. That has already cleared out. Not really sure what was going on, but that was the only spot of delay. And the rest of your Salt Lake County freeway seeing a light drive with no other problems. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll see a lull in the activity this afternoon. High of 71, breezy out of the south. Partly cloudy skies turning mostly cloudy into the evening. 49 in the overnight, scattered showers. Tomorrow, 56 degrees, cold front with thunderstorms. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, a lot of sunshine and 66 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And coming up on Midday, we'll hear more from the Salt Lake City International Airport spokesperson about the decision to not air the new video with Kristi Noem. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. It's sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Well, if you've been thinking about taking off all that extra weight, but you just haven't been able to find the time, or that you're worried it's too expensive, or that the plans are just too complicated, I want to tell you about a plan that's helped me lose more than 40 pounds, and it's Salt Lake City Fat Loss. This is an all-natural plan. It strategically uses a combination of foods to help you drop the weight fast. And you know that when you drop the weight fast, you know how it is, you're more likely at least, to stick with the plan. Since it's all natural, you don't have to worry about any side effects from medications or pills or anything like that. And since you don't have to buy things like breakfast bars and shakes, it's not as expensive as other plans. Plus, Salt Lake City Fat Loss has a great app that not only keeps you accountable, it allows you to reach out, ask questions, or voice concerns at any time. The app also gives you a 1-minute inspirational video every morning and a ton of other resources and recipes to help you be successful. I've lost more than 40 pounds, but many of their clients lose up to a pound per day. Wouldn't that be nice before you take those holiday photos? Learn how you can save $200 with their fall special now at slcfatloss.com. That is slcfatloss.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
With Progressive, you can reach customer service in the way that's easiest for you, by phone, app, or online. We know it would be great if we just magically appeared, but that's more of a genie thing, and we do insurance. But with us, you'd be like, well, it wasn't a genie, but it was great customer service, so that's nice. And sure, you probably would still like the whole 3 wishes thing, so if you meet a genie, you should definitely ask. But when you need us, contact Progressive by phone, app, or online. Just no genies. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Many Medicare health insurance plans are cutting back on benefits, reducing coverage areas, or increasing costs. The Medicare annual election period begins October 15th. Legacy Insurance provides local agents you can count on to help you get the most of your Medicare benefits and to be there for you over the years. Call 801-281-0066, 801-281-0066, and ask for a real agent. Currently, Legacy Insurance represents 58 organizations, which offer 93 products in your area. You can always contact Medicare.gov, 1-800-MEDICARE, or your local state health insurance program for help with plan choices. There are significant changes to Medicare plans this year. Learn more or request help from a caring and local professional by visiting them online at BecauseWeProtectYou.com. That's BecauseWeProtectYou.com.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Salt Lake City airport officials are now telling us they've decided not to play a video blaming Democrats for the government shutdown, not because of politics, but because it actually violates state law. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, the victim of a suspected robbery and shooting has been identified as Josh Pechtel. He died at the hospital last night. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Quiet on the roads, no accidents, no delays. If you're on the freeways, you're good to go. Our main secondaries also seeing a good drive. Mountain View, Bangerter, Redwood Road, State, all looking good at this time. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Predominantly dry skies this afternoon with a south breeze, ushering in a cold front tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 64 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. It is day 14 of the government shutdown. Furloughed workers facing missing paychecks. Others have received layoff notices. Senate Republicans and Democrats expected to force a vote tonight. It's unlikely to pass. Democrats say they'll hold firm on restoring health care benefits slashed in the GOP megabill. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Even top Republicans like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson warning that the government could be in for one of the longest shutdowns in its history. The record is 35 days set during the first Trump administration. And now more than 750,000 furloughed federal workers plus essential staff like TSA agents and air traffic controllers already feeling the pain, receiving their last paycheck until the government reopens.
President Trump hosting Argentina's leader today at the White House. The U.S. recently bolstered Argentina's economy with a $20 billion bailout. They'll be negotiating tariffs. Many American farmers upset, saying the aid for Argentina, along with Trump's tariffs, are leading to China being able to buy soybeans from Argentina. President Trump, after signing a peace plan that includes a ceasefire in Gaza and return of hostages, is calling on the international community to come together. Some still calling for a two-state solution. ABC's Karen Travers says phase 2 of the peace plan calling for Hamas to disarm and a new security force to govern Gaza.
When the president talks there about, one state or two state, it is very similar to things he said during his first term. He has really never been as specific about what he wants to see, instead deferring to the parties on the ground in the region, saying what they want is what he will eventually approve of and what he would like to see happen.
In Israel, the 4 bodies of hostages returned yesterday as part of phase 1 have all been identified. Families of 24 other hostages who were killed are waiting for the remains to be located. You're listening to ABC News.
And time now for the KSL In Depth. And President Trump is taking questions from reporters at the White House. Let's listen in.
Balance trading. And now you mentioned Bolivia, but there are numerous other countries that are coming our way. And Brazil, as you know, I had a very good conversation with the president. I met him at the United Nations before I went up to speak, and then I found that I didn't have a speech because I had no teleprompter. They turned off my teleprompter purposely. They made it impossible for me. But it didn't silence me. I spoke without, and it was a good speech. It was a good speech. But no, I think of that. You go into the United Nations, I'm speaking in front of 158 leaders and the whole world. And I look at my teleprompter, and it's dead. They killed my teleprompter. They wouldn't let the man that operated into the booth. Can you believe that?
You don't have any specific interest in economic terms for the state?
I do have. No, I want to see it succeed. I think it's going to be great, and we will benefit also. But it's not that big a benefit because it's not that big a country, but it's a very important country, and it's a country that can be very successful. There are some countries that will never be successful. This is a country that has great potential if it has the right leadership, and you have the right leadership with this man right here. Okay?
Mr. President, would you support dollarization?
I would say that I'll leave that up to my my economic people, but I like the dollar. I'm very strong on the dollar. And anybody who wants to deal in dollars, they have an advantage over people that aren't. But for the most part, we're keeping it that way. I think if Biden would have, that group would have gotten elected, meaning Kamala, you wouldn't have the dollar as your currency anymore. You wouldn't have a world domination by the dollar if I didn't win this election. And now the domination, like BRICS. I told anybody who wants to be in BRICS, that's fine, but we're going to put tariffs on your nation. Everybody dropped out. They're all dropping out of BRICS. BRICS was an attack on the dollar. And I said, you want to play that game, I'm going to put tariffs on all of your product coming into the U.S. They said, like I said, we're dropping out of BRICS. And BRICS is like, they don't even talk about it anymore. Scott, you want to add to that, please?
We're very happy with the current currency arrangement.
Mr. President,
Your ABC fake news.
Mr. President,
Brian, please.
First of all, congratulations.
I don't take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, sir. First of all, congratulations on achieving peace. You are indeed the peacemaker. On a lighter...
Did you ever think I was going to be called the peacemaker?
Actually, I did. I saw some of the actions you were doing.
Go ahead.
But on a lighter note, Alyssa Farah, she is one of the hosts on ABC's show The View. She said a while back, I'll quote, "If Trump gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on this show and say thank you for doing it." Your response?
Well, did she put the hat on?
Well, she hasn't got the hat yet.
Who is it? Which one?
Alyssa Farah.
Well, she used to work for me. So she used to work here. I'll tell you about Alyssa.
Reporters questioning President Trump at the White House today. Let's get you up to date on the drive. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
We are looking at a nice drive in progress for your Tuesday noontime commute. If you're out and about to get a bite to eat, you're going to see good speeds on the freeways, main secondaries, and even the downtown city streets are looking good. I took a look at traffic cameras through some of the canyons. A beautiful day to go leaf peeping, and I-80 looks good. The Alpine Loop, Big and Little Cottonwood, and Provo Canyon all in good shape. Ricky Neese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, calling for partly cloudy skies this afternoon, high of 71, breezy out of the south. Clouds thicken up towards the evening, and by overnight, more scattered showers. Tomorrow, cold front, 56 for a high, scattered thunderstorms. 52 more rain showers possible on Thursday. That's the coldest of the next 7. Rebounding nicely on Friday, 59, partly cloudy. 63, mostly sunny on Saturday. Sunday, mostly sunny, 70 degrees, but breezy again. Those winds will usher in another storm system next Monday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And mostly cloudy skies, 64 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets at this hour. It's mixed. The Dow up by nearly 400 points, but the NASDAQ is down. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Upgrade your hunting arsenal with premium brands at great prices during the Shields Hunting Sale event happening now through October 19th. Scope out savings on your favorite brands in camo, rifles, ammunition, and so much more. Like $200 off the Sitka Fanatic jacket and up to $500 off the Leupold VX5 HD rifle scope. Join the community of hunters who trust Shields experts to outfit their adventures and get more bang for your buck now through October 19th at Shields.
At BMW of Pleasant Grove, we believe that driving should be more than just a commute. It should be an experience. Feel the perfect fusion of performance, technology, and luxury with our stunning lineup of new and certified pre-owned BMWs. From the exhilarating drive of a 3 or 5 Series to the spacious elegance of an X7, experience a transparent and effortless car buying experience. Visit us at bmwofpg.com. BMW of Pleasant Grove. The ultimate driving machine is closer than you think.
President Trump is now talking about his talks with Hamas. Let's listen in again for a moment.
Are you from Argentina?
I'm from Argentina, yes.
I like the Argentina. I like them much better than ABC. Than ABC fake news.
Me too, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Does continued U.S. support for Argentina depend on the results of the upcoming...
Okay, well, the president did say that he did talk to Hamas, and he does believe that Hamas will disarm. We'll continue to follow the president's comments. Let's take a look at your money at this moment. If you applied for an extension to file your taxes, it's due by tomorrow. Even if the government is shut down, the IRS confirmed nearly half of its staff is currently furloughed, but that doesn't affect deadlines for filing. Ultra-fast EV charging stations are headed your way. The largest electric vehicle charging network, ChargePoint, says it will begin installing upgraded stations that will fully charge your EV in 10 minutes. It is a far cry from the 2 to 4 hours previously needed to tank up. The winning numbers for last night's Powerball drawing are 13, 14, 32, 52, 64, and the Powerball is 12. It's unknown if there's a winner yet, as the drawing was delayed a couple of hours. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 379 points, nearly a full percent, sitting at 46,446. S&P is up by 15. The NASDAQ, though, is down by 56 points. Today is National Dessert Day, and many sweet deals can be had. The Cheesecake Factory is offering half-price desserts for its reward members through Thursday. Some Dairy Queen locations are offering $1 small blizzards all day today, and Nothing Bundt Cakes is offering buy one, get one free buntlets.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
Red Cross brought relief supplies.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Join the Greenhouse Show this Saturday live from the Community Action Services and Food Bank at the BYU Cougar Run this Saturday, 8 to 11 at Robinson Field. Come donate food or funds to help BYU and Utah tackle hunger together. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
No problems reported on any of the Valley freeways at this time. Our main secondaries also seeing a quiet drive, whether that's West Davis Highway, Legacy, Mountain View, Bangerter. No problems also on some of our downtown city streets. We're seeing a quiet noontime drive, a little busy around some of those intersections. That's kind of typical. Even where we have construction zones, lighter than normal traffic on Pioneer Crossing, both directions between I-15 and 2300 West. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for drier skies this afternoon, high of 71. It'll be breezy out of the south with clouds increasing towards nightfall. 49 overnight, scattered showers possible. 56 on Wednesday. I got a cold front with thunderstorms. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this half hour. The Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints has a major announcement this afternoon. Church officials will announce who will officially take over the first presidency in about 30 minutes. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with the details. Heather?
Maria, the church has been without a first president since the death of the late president, Russell M. Nelson, more than 2 weeks ago. Today, the church is set to announce a reorganization of the first presidency. If precedent remains intact, that would make President Dallin H. Oaks the new prophet, and he will call 2 apostles as his first and second counselors. President Oaks has been serving as the first counselor in the first presidency and as the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and Elder Henry B. Eyring has been serving as the second counselor. Today's worldwide announcement will be made from Temple Square and will be streaming live at 1 o'clock. You can hear that live on KSL News Radio. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
We are learning more about the family rescued from a storm in Big Cottonwood Canyon, and the latest update from the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office shows one child is still in critical condition. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more.
Investigators say 31-year-old Micah Smith and his 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 8, set out for a hike near the Broads Fork Trail on Saturday, but never returned. Rescue crews, along with DPS Aero Bureau and Life Flight helicopters, located the family early Sunday morning. As of today, the sheriff's office say Micah remains in stable condition. His 2-year-old son is also stable, and his 8-year-old daughter has been released from the hospital. But his 4-year-old son Ezra is still in critical condition and on heart and lung machines to keep him alive. Micah's brother Zach shared on GoFundMe that Micah bravely sacrificed himself to protect his kids as the storm hit at high elevation. Deputies are reminding hikers to plan ahead and prepare for rapidly changing canyon weather, especially as winter conditions move in. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
This has been the wettest October on record. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we've had 4.16 inches of rain.
One of the reasons why this is so big for the state is because we're saturating that soil. We're getting our soil moisture back up. We're recharging the aquifers, and that's going to make for a better and more efficient snow runoff, snowmelt season come spring.
Matt says when the soil is dry, it can act like a sponge, taking the moisture before it makes it to rivers, streams, and reservoirs. It's lush here in Utah, but fall leaves are more muted across America this year.
More than 40% of the country began October in drought, which might mean a shorter leaf peeping season with less color, according to a USDA meteorologist. The Nature Conservancy in Massachusetts says climate change is stressing our forests with severe weather and heat waves. This drought has hit the northeast and western U.S. especially hard. In the Rockies, peak color is now hitting Denver at the same time as the mountains, very early. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
KSL's top national stories. President Trump is calling on the international community to come together for peace after the Israel-Hamas hostage prisoner exchange. Here's ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers with more.
The president notably said yesterday that this was the hard phase, getting the hostages released, achieving this ceasefire, and that the next part, the rebuilding, would be easier. I think it'd be hard to find experts who will say that this next phase will be easy because there are a lot of complicated, very difficult questions right now in terms of disarming Hamas, making sure that that holds. How do you rebuild Gaza? How does that process play out? Who pays for it? And the security situation there as that process is playing out.
Now, experts say it will take time to rebuild the Gaza Strip. ABC News chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is in Tel Aviv with more.
Satellite images assessed by the UN showing 83% of structures in the Strip are damaged. So much remains to be done. Not least how to end the famine here, how to rebuild, and how to dismantle Hamas. It'll require all of President Trump's efforts to make sure that this ceasefire turns into a lasting peace.
Israeli officials had confirmed the identities of 2 killed hostages returned to Israel, but Hamas has yet to turn over the bodies of 24 additional hostages. Israel has released about 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. Other national stories KSL is following. President Trump is back in Washington, D.C. today, where he will honor slain political activist Charlie Kirk. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
President Trump today will posthumously award Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Today would have been the conservative activist's 32nd birthday. President Trump has called Kirk a, quote, giant of his generation and promised a big event today.
The assassin failed in his quest because Charlie's message has not been silenced. It now is bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and it's not even close.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
You may soon be getting your ballot in the mail for the November election. Mail-in ballots are being sent out this week ahead of Municipal General Election Day on Tuesday, November 4th. And as a reminder, because of a change to state law, ballots will now need to be mailed back sooner. They have to be put in the hands of the county clerk by election night to count. First Look Traffic, here's Ricky Meese.
We are still enjoying a nice and quiet drive on the Valley freeways. Good speeds up and down I-15 between Ogden and Provo. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And it is Blitz, B-L-I-T-Z. Text it to 57500 for your chance to win. Want to see Saturday's big game in person? Listen Tuesday and Thursday every hour to catch that keyword. It will actually come at 20 past each hour, a little bit late here. So again, the keyword for this hour is Blitz, B-L-I-T-Z.
Everybody knows that exterior remodeling salespeople are all about the high-pressure sell. Am I right? Windows, siding, gutters, those suckers are going to twist your arm and get you to buy, or they won't leave your house at night. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and I want you to know we don't have high-pressure cells. In fact, we don't even have salespeople. Nope, we have estimators. That's a huge difference. Estimators are trained to look at the entire scope of the project, to see and know if there are any problems, like rotten wood, wood-boring insects, or construction issues specific to your house or your neighbors. Salespeople are more concerned about playing those silly price games. Buy one, get one free, sign today and get 40% off, as if they didn't just jack the price up to give you a fake discount. RGS Exteriors estimators are going to give you a great quote. No games, no tricks, no nonsense. Call RGS Exteriors to quote your exterior project. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
Are a little tired of the draft that's coming in your windows or doors, or maybe you're just tired of your older windows that are smaller and you'd really like to let the light shine in. I'd like to tell you about Peach Windows and Doors. Peach is a trusted name in windows and doors for luxury homes, remodels, and new home builds. And we're not talking about the same white vinyl windows that everyone else pushes. They have a wide range of high-quality products to choose from. They specialize in custom windows that have a contemporary look with the larger glass and the slim frames. But they also have European-style windows that tilt and turn and make them so easy to clean. You're going to love the customer service. You can sit down with them at Peach Windows and Doors, and they'll really help you make that great final touch to your windows and doors. They even have window coverings, including those popular motorized custom roller shades. Visit Peach Windows and Doors today. You can do that. They have a Salt Lake showroom. You can also call them at 801-566-1255, or you can find out more at peachwindowsanddoors.com. peachwindowsanddoors.com.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story. In just a little bit, we'll get an announcement from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on the reorganization of the First Presidency. That's coming up at 1 o'clock. KSL News Time, 12:38. A new modular apartment building in Salt Lake is the first of its kind in Utah and developed to help people experiencing homelessness. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
This apartment building located near 7th East and 100 South will be both housing and a prep school. CEO of the Other Side Foundation, Tim Stay, says it'll teach people how to get out of the homelessness cycle.
Our average resident who comes into this facility has been homeless for over 9 years, so these are people who've really been caught in the system for a long time.
And it's the first modular apartment building in the state. President of Irontown Modular, Cal Valgardson, says the pre-built pieces will be assembled by the end of the week.
It's like a giant Lego piece. And that Lego piece has a kitchen and a bedroom and a bathroom. And then we pick them up and stack them up in a very short period of time.
Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
President Trump's new tariffs are going into effect today. Additional costs will be added to lumber, furniture, and other wood products, potentially making home building and renovation projects more expensive.
To build a house because of these tariffs, we've already seen prices up about $8,000, and this additional tariff taking effect adds $1,000. If you're buying on the higher end, that has a smaller impact, but it also encourages some of these home builders, instead of building some of the less expensive homes, which are so desperately needed, first-time home buyers really struggling with affordability right now, it encourages building on the higher end, which doesn't necessarily create the types of homes that we really need more of in this country.
Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis reporting. The Guitar Czar store in Murray is closing after 32 years, and they say it's partly due to tariffs. They are not the only music store impacted by new import taxes. Colin Campbell with Riverton Music says they are feeling the impact on all sorts of instruments.
We've had 2 or 3 price increases this year because of tariffs, which is probably the most that we've had for a number of years.
Cheaper models of instruments tend to be made overseas, often in China. The owners of the Guitar Czar also cite changing shopper behavior and a slow economy for the closure. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
Right now, I'm looking at a live shot at downtown about 2nd South and State Street. Traffic does seem to be lighter than normal. So downtown City Street seeing a quiet commute. The Valley Freeway's also an easy drive there no matter where you're traveling along the Wasatch Front, including I-15. And the freeway, I-15, is looking good in either direction, and that's in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. Right now, we are enjoying a crash-free commute. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Forecasting a reprieve from the showers this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, high of 71 and breezy. Clouds will increase towards evening, and by overnight, scattered showers, 49 the low. 56 tomorrow afternoon, that's all we get. Scattered thunderstorms, likely with a cold front. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, a lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City, 64 degrees. Coming up on midday, some attendees of the Red West Music Festival are pursuing a lawsuit against the organizers, claiming that they reacted poorly to the weather conditions over the weekend. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
This summer, your carpets saw it all. Dirt, dust, even pet mess. This autumn, it's time to fall back in love with your home with Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Zero Res uses patented ZR water technology to clean the right way with no harsh chemicals or sticky residues. That means carpets stay cleaner longer, dry in just hours, and are safe for kids and pets. Plus, Zero Res backs it up with their Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not happy, they'll re-clean it free within 30 days. And right now, get the carpet of any room cleaned for just $43 and take 15% off air duct cleaning services when you mention KSL. Fall back in love with your carpets today. Schedule online at zerores.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zero Res is the right way to clean.
KSL News Time, 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
we will soon learn about the reorganization of the First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That worldwide announcement will be streaming live here at 1 o'clock. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
Second, you may soon be getting your ballot in the mail for the November election. Mail-in ballots are being sent out this week. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
You're good to go if you're traveling I-15, 215, I-80, and the 21st South Freeway. No accidents, no delays. Our main secondaries are also enjoying a quiet noontime drive. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, a bit of a break from the rain this afternoon, but it returns tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine. We've reached 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national story.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump hosting Argentina's leader at the White House. He just secured a $20 billion U.S. bailout for his country. Before talks on tariffs, the president also commented on the Gaza ceasefire and release of hostages yesterday after signing the U.S. peace plan.
We had a great weekend. We had a great period of time in the Middle East. It was very comprehensive. It went very rapidly, and I think it's going to lead to something that's going to be unrecognizable, certainly for the Middle East.
Tensions remain in Gaza. 5 Palestinians killed today. The IDF says they violated the ceasefire military line. The government shutdown is now 2 weeks in. The Senate will vote again today on a bill to end the shutdown, but Democrats and Republicans remain deadlocked over health care. And tributes are pouring in following the death of R&B singer D'Angelo. Known for hits like Untitled, How Does It Feel? D'Angelo was battling pancreatic cancer. He was 51. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The man from American Fork is trying to pull together a class action lawsuit against Red West Fest for how they handled the weather conditions over the weekend and their refusal to issue refunds to people who spent thousands of dollars to be at the 3-day concert festival. He says he already has about 700 people signed up to be part of that potential lawsuit. Joining me now live to talk about it is KSL legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. And Greg, what do you think? Do they have a case?
Well, they probably don't have a case for blaming the individuals involved in that group to cancel the event. If weather is bad or if conditions are unsafe, they have every right to do that. But they also probably have to refund the money that people had paid. So they probably have a fairly good lawsuit in terms of getting their money back because they paid for something that they didn't get. And even though it was out of the control of the Red Fest organizers, people paid to watch an event. They didn't get to see it, so there should be some level of compensation just for that.
So what does it take to put together a class action lawsuit of this magnitude?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard because a class involves a class of people that suffer the same injuries. And so in this case, it would be all of the concert goers, and there were probably in the hundreds. In fact, they've already got a number of signatures. So once you get a group like that, and class actions make a lot more sense rather than to have 200 separate lawsuits. You have one lawsuit involving the class of individuals. There's strength in numbers, and an attorney can represent all the individuals for the same problem and try to get a larger settlement to get everybody their fair share of what's entitled to them.
So what kind of criteria do they have to prove to have a case like this?
Well, for the class action for refunding their money, they may just have to prove that the event was canceled. Now, if they wanted to go something further and punish them, then they'd want to be able to prove that it was canceled for some reason other than the weather. Maybe that one of the artists didn't want to play, or maybe people were just tired. It was the end of the day or something like that. So if they had a valid excuse based on some legitimate cause, they're entitled to cancel it, but they're probably also required to refund the money.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything like this in a concert case?
I have not, although we get concerts canceled all the time. The reason I haven't seen it is because they almost always just refund the money. So we don't have, there's no reason to bring a lawsuit, because when concerts get canceled, people that paid their money, they get their money back, or they get it applied to the next concert or something like that. Or maybe they get to choose one or the other. So yeah, you would expect the Red West people to have made some arrangements to compensate these people.
Okay, Greg, thanks so much for being with me. That is KSL's legal analyst and the co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Ricky Meese.
If you're traveling any of the Valley freeways, we've had a very quiet commute. Traffic even a little bit lighter than normal. Even where it's busy, it's moving right along. So no accidents, no delays on any of the Valley freeways. Our main secondary is also seeing a quiet drive. You will see a little bit of slowing. This is eastbound Pioneer Crossing in the work zone as you're approaching the I-15 junction. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast remains active generally. Today, partly cloudy by afternoon, 71, breezy out of the south, clouds thicken into the evening. 49 overnight, showers likely. Tomorrow, 56, scattered storms. We keep showers in the forecast on Thursday, 52. Friday, 59, partly cloudy. Dry on Saturday, 63. We should remain dry for the big rival game. Sunday, mostly sunny, 70, breezy. More showers expected by next Monday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
We're enjoying a lot of sunshine and 70 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
KSL News Time, 12:54. SpaceX tested its massive Starship rocket last night.
SpaceX says the latest test flight of its Starship rocket was a complete success. Elon Musk's company launching the rocket last night from the Texas coast. The huge rocket climbing to the edge of space and then deploying 8 fake satellites. Then, as planned, it exploded as it came down into the Indian Ocean. SpaceX says this is the second straight successful test flight. The goal here is for the Starship to carry astronauts to the moon and eventually to Mars.
That is ABC's Faith Abube reporting. Watching Utah's money, mortgage lenders require homeowners in flood-prone areas to carry flood insurance. The National Flood Insurance Program is one of many that ran out of money on September 30th when the government shut down. The NAR says thousands of people can't get reimbursed for flooding occurring across the country right now. U.S. Food and Drug Administration just expanded their health alert on cinnamon products. Several brands contain elevated levels of lead, and the Hete and Roshni brands were added to Dura and Wise Wife ground cinnamon as they are considered unsafe. The automotive industry just released its list for safest gas cans. They say if you are storing fuel for emergencies, make sure it's in containers that don't leak fumes or liquid. The Eagle 5-gallon Type 1 safety gas can is their top pick, and they say always use a funnel when pouring gas. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 404 points, nearly a full percent, sitting at 46,474. S&P 500 up by 19, but the NASDAQ, it's down by 45 points.
Pump good.
A California engineer and gardening enthusiast won the top prize at the pumpkin weighing contest in Northern California. Brandon Dawson's giant pumpkin weighed 2,346 pounds. That's roughly the same weight as a small sedan or a large bison. Dawson, who works at Rivian Automotive, has been growing massive pumpkins for 5 years.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
Hi, this is Jessica with Community Action Services and Food Bank. As fans anticipate the big game on October 18th, the University of Utah and Brigham Young University are teaming up to tackle hunger in Utah. Whether you wear Cougar Blue or Ute Red, drop off non-perishable food at designated Smith's locations in Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties from October 1st to November 4th, or donate online. Every can, every dollar helps feed the more than 100,000 families in the state of Utah who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Let's show that when it comes to helping our neighbors, fans stand united. Together, we can fill pantries and prove that unity around community is the real win. In tackling hunger, we're all on the same team. Help provide 100,000 meals for families in Utah. Visit Utah Food Bank at utahfoodbank.org or Community Action Services and Food Bank at communityactionprovo.org to learn more about food insecurity and how you can help.
Rivalry Week is here, and KSL News Radio has your tickets to this year's BYU-Utah game. Tune in every hour and listen for a Cougar keyword. When you hear it, text it to 57500 for your chance to win. We'll pick a new winner each day. The more Cougar keywords you catch, the better chance you have to win. Find details and sweepstakes rules at KSLNewsRadio.com. KSL News Radio, the legacy home of BYU football.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
Still seeing a nice and quiet drive on all the Valley freeways, but we do have a new accident. It's in Weber County, westbound Riverdale Road. This is west of I-15 at about 1800 west in the Roy area, and they are over to the right. More emergency crews are arriving on the scene. You can get through the area, just use a little caution. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And the forecast for the Wasatch Front, we are enjoying the dry weather before the storm. Just a 20% chance of showers later on this evening, increasing to a 70% chance tomorrow. And our temperature is going to drop big time. Temperature is going to drop down to 58 degrees tomorrow. 54 on Thursday, still that 50% chance of showers, and things climbing back up for that rivalry game over the weekend. We'll be back up into the 60s for Saturday, but the overnight low is going to be about 46, so it's going to be mighty chilly. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, 70 degrees. And this is KSL FM Midvale, KSL AM Salt Lake City. Let's now go live to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for an unexpected announcement about the faith's new first presidency. It's 1 o'clock. And again, we are standing by for an announcement from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, expected to announce the faith's new first presidency. Looks like we are having just a...
I am Elder Gary E. Stevenson of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and have been asked to conduct this afternoon's announcement. We welcome you from the Conference Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, on this memorable occasion of the presentation of a new first presidency. With the passing of our beloved prophet, Russell M. Nelson, on September 27th, 2025, the first presidency was dissolved. The men previously serving as counselors assumed their places in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and that quorum assumed leadership of the church, with the senior apostle at its head. Members of the Quorum of the 12 met earlier today to consider reconstituting the first presidency. This revelatory experience again confirmed to each of us in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles that Jesus Christ directs his church. We are honored now to announce that President Dallas Harris Oaks was set apart as the 18th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints this morning. President Oaks will now address us.
Thank you, Elder Stevenson. I am pleased to announce that we have a new first presidency. After an extended process of fasting and prayer, I have been inspired by the Lord to call President Henry B. Eyring as first counselor and President D. Todd Christofferson as second counselor in the first presidency. At this time, we also announce that President Jeffrey R. Holland, under a newly conferred title, is the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. I'm grateful that each of these men, whom I admire and know so well, have accepted these sacred callings. We will now hear from President D. Todd Christofferson, followed by President Henry B. Eyring. We will then hear from President Jeffrey R. Holland, President of the Quorum of the 12. I will then share a concluding testimony with you, and the meeting will be adjourned.
I confess that this is not what I expected when I woke up this morning. But I am deeply honored by this calling and the trust that it carries. At the same time, I recognize that I'm not called to be honored, but called to serve. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve at the side of President Dallin H. Oaks. and Henry B. Eyring. I recall many years ago slipping into a meeting in Washington, D.C., where I was not invited, but I wanted to hear Dallin H. Oaks, who was speaking. He made a lot of sense then, as he always does and has and does now, and I was most impressed with his many qualities, his intellect, but most of all his spiritual depth. And I bear witness, as one who's been part of the process, that he is called of God in this current position, this weighty responsibility. And my prayers, my wife's prayers, are with yours for him and his success and the Lord's constant blessings upon him. It is Jesus Christ who is the head of the church. I know that. I bear witness of it. I'm more sure of it every day. I know him. I honor him. I pledge my life and discipleship to him in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I am equally surprised, as was President Christopherson, at the wonderful opportunity to serve in the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I love him, and I've always felt that he was urging me to be better, and that I was never quite doing it. And so the feeling of being asked, I believe under inspiration, to come and serve again in the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was, I can express the gratitude that I feel for the trust from the Lord, and the trust that President Oaks has shown to me. I love him and know him and can testify that I know that he is the head of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints by inspiration. I have seen the power of God come upon him, and it's been a reassuring thing to me to know that just as in the days of old, when Peter and others would lead the church, that the people would be able to recognize that that was the Lord's servant to lead his church. I've had that blessing, that I've had that assurance come to me, and I'm so grateful for that, and grateful for the trust, and grateful for the people whose faith I know will sustain us in this great work of the restoration and the final preparation of the Lord's church for his coming. I bear you my testimony that preparation is occurring, and that President Oaks is the perfect one to do the things that I know the Lord will want done. I am grateful to be at his side. I testify Jesus is the Christ, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
I am thrilled to speak for the Quorum of the 12, for the 7 presidents of the 70, the presiding bishopric, organizational heads, all of whom support and sustain unequivocally President Dallin Oaks as the president, prophet, seer, and revelator leading this church for its next moment in time. We love him, we have known him, we've watched him be prepared, and have had the confirmation that that is the Lord's will this day. And that has been a unanimous and a very, very moving experience to see that mantle come fully and completely on President Oaks. We stand ready to serve him out to the newest convert and the and the most recently called missionary. I know beyond anything else I know that this is God's church. This is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Father and the Son and the gifts of the Holy Ghost will come upon President Oaks in full measure. And I know that that line of gift and promise is true, and that has been reaffirmed as well today. And I love the work that we're in, bear testimony of it, and say that in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. My dear brothers and sisters, in this small announcement meeting and throughout the world, I know beyond any certainty in my life that this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, restored with the fullness of the gospel that God has chosen to reveal in this dispensation of the fullness of time, and led by prophets to the present day. I accept with humility the responsibility that God has placed upon me and commit my whole heart and soul to the service to which I've been called. I'm grateful to President Eyring and to President Christofferson for accepting their responsibilities. And I'm grateful to the Quorum of the 12, whom I esteem and love also as apostles of the Lord Jesus Christ, for their commitment to follow the Lord's will through his duly appointed servants. I testify that the Lord speaks to the apostles of his church and through the apostles of his church, according to the organization that has been revealed to serve us in these latter days. I am grateful for the prayers offered by so many members of the church for a new first presidency. I have felt the effect of those prayers, and with my counselors, we will strive in all respects to press forward this great work. Most recently, we've been led by a magnificent prophet of the Lord, President Russell M. Nelson. We have much work to do to fulfill the challenges he has given us, and there is more yet to come, of which I testify in all humility. The Lord still speaks through his servants. There is much to be done, for our ministry is a ministry of all the children of God on the face of the earth. We pray for all, we seek to serve all, and we invoke the blessings of the Lord Jesus Christ upon all who seek to serve him, to do so in worthiness and commitment and optimism. We do not have the answers to all of the world's problems. They've not been revealed. But what we do know is that we are all children of heavenly parents, and that we are called to serve all of the children of God in this wonderful, restored church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I testify of the Lord Jesus Christ, who is the head of this church, and invoke his blessings upon all of us as we seek to serve him. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Amen.
Thank you for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Officials with the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints have announced the new first presidency that will lead the faith in the future. I'm joined live in studio by the host of Inside Sources, Holly Richardson, here to help us break down this developing story. And Holly, let's bring in Don Brinkerhoff first for just a bit of a recap. And Don, first of all, President Oaks told several stories about his family while speaking about the importance of families in the church. So what can you tell us about that?
You know, family has been a kind of a theme of President Oaks through many of his different talks in General Conference. He has been a member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, an apostle since 1984. So he's been in the Quorum for a very, very long time. I estimated a few minutes ago how many talks that would have been, and it's probably close to 80 talks that he's given in General Conference in that time frame. And as you say, a lot of them have been about families, and most recently, and just last week, he spoke about families being the best place for children to learn.
I will never forget the promise of my maternal grandfather Harris when we children were living on his farm near Payson, Utah. He gave me the tragic news that my father had died in faraway Denver, Colorado. I ran into the bedroom and knelt beside the bed, crying my heart out. Grandpa followed me and went to his knees beside me and said, "I will be your father." That tender promise is a powerful example of what grandparents can do to fill in the gaps when families lose or are missing a member. Parents, single or married, and others like grandparents who fill that role for children are the master teachers. Their most effective teaching is by example. The family circle is the ideal place to demonstrate and learn eternal values, such as the importance of marriage and children, the purpose of life, and the true source of joy. It is also the best place to learn other essential lessons of life, such as kindness, forgiveness, self-control, and the value of education and honest work.
This is Holly Richardson. I love that he spoke about his mother and his father. So I know there's a scholarship down at UVU named the Stella Oaks Scholarship specifically for single mothers. But Don, what are some of the scriptures maybe that President Oaks has leaned on repeatedly? Was there anything that seemed to be a pattern?
One of the things that he did speak about, and President Oaks has been known for kind of speaking directly to the issue. He doesn't mince a lot of words. He kind of goes straight to it. And in a talk about being firm about the truth, he referred to the scripture or the story of the woman taken in adultery.
The Savior showed the way when his adversaries confronted him with the woman who had been taken in adultery in the very act. When shamed with their own hypocrisy, the accusers withdrew and left Jesus alone with the woman. He treated her with kindness by declining to condemn her at that time, but he also firmly directed her to sin no more. Loving kindness is required, but a follower of Christ, just like the Master, will be firm in the truth.
And you are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos with Inside Sources host Holly Richardson and Don Brinkerhoff. And joining us now in studio, Deseret News editor Sarah Jane Weaver. Sarah, thanks so much for coming in. And you've interviewed President Oaks, so what is he like in person?
Well, he is so sweet, so kind. He has a photo. It's not a photo, it's a painting in his office. It's called The Forgotten Man, and it's a man sitting on the curb in the middle of the Depression. His legs are extended into the street. You can tell he's depressed, and there's the legs of people walking by him, paying him no notice. And President Oaks looks at that photo and thinks about all the people in the world that are forgotten. Once when I was interviewing him, I accidentally called that photo the Invisible Man, and he said, "Oh no, that man is not invisible." He said, "Look, the sun is shining on his head. He is known to God." And so I think that's how President Oaks views all of God's children. He knows that even when they're down on their luck or seemingly forgotten by everyone else in the world, that they're not forgotten by God. And my experience has been that they're not forgotten by President Oaks.
Can I ask you a question, Sarah, about the counselors that he just called? So he called President Eyring to continue in a role as counselor, and then Elder D. Todd Christofferson. Were either one of those a surprise to you? Is that something you can weigh in on?
Well, he has served with President Henry B. Eyring for the last almost 8 years under the leadership of President Nelson. And President Eyring had also served in the first presidency with two previous church leaders, both President Thomas S. Monson and President Gordon B. Hinckley. And so it feels like as those two have served side by side as counselors together, that would be natural for him to retain President Eyring and continue working with him. Elder D. Todd Christofferson is also someone who is trained in the law, so they would share that legal background. And they're both known as very hard workers.
Such an important day for the faith, and you've had conversations with President Oaks. What would you like people to know about him?
Well, so often people see President Oaks at the pulpit, where he so efficiently organizes his talks, much like a legal brief, which I have so appreciated because we know what he's going to say. He lays it out for us. There's no surprises. But away from the pulpit, he is kind and he is thoughtful and he is so inclusive. A few years ago, he was in Rome at a summit where he gave a historic address on international religious liberty. And as part of that Notre Dame Religious Liberty Summit, we were at a luncheon and he was asked to offer a prayer on the food. And when he stood up to do that, the first thing he did was invoke the Lord's Prayer. And it was such a sweet acknowledgement for every single Catholic in the room, in that historic city where the Vatican and the headquarters of the Catholic Church is. And then he transitioned in his prayer to include a traditional Latter-day Saint prayer. But I thought it explains so much about his nature. It goes back to what we were saying earlier. None are forgotten by him. He takes notice and he is thoughtful of the people around him. He's got a funny sense of humor and he's unfailingly kind.
So, Sarah, I think one of the things about President Oaks that I think about is that he has been really, he has given really powerful talks on the Constitution, but also on religious freedom. You've kind of mentioned that. How do you think that might flavor his presidency of a global church?
Yeah, so he's been a very, very constant defender of the Constitution. In recent years, he's also advocated for civility and for the way we treat one another. He's asked us to show kindness and respect for one another. Just a few years ago, he did a historic address at the University of Virginia on religious freedom in the United States. And then it wasn't very much longer when he went to Rome and gave a similar address, but talking about religious freedom internationally. President Oaks is also the one who, when the church supported the Fairness for Marriage Act, he came out and said, this is why we did it. In 2015, when the church announced fairness for all, it was President Oaks and Elder D. Todd Christofferson, now President D. Todd Christofferson, who stood together and said, we actually advocate for both rights for LGBTQ members and for the religious freedom of those who want to worship God in a certain way.
Is there something that we can expect in the immediate future from President Oaks, something that he has been wanting to do or something that he's heavily involved in that we could expect to see from him?
Well, President Oaks, at the funeral of President Russell M. Nelson, said he was my best friend in all the world. And I think first and foremost, he hinted at this at the most recent General Conference, that he was going to continue with temple building and he was going to continue with some of those priorities that he worked on side by side with President Nelson. So I think that we're going to see a continuation of the great momentum that members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have felt in recent years.
Thank you for joining us today, Sarah. Is there anything else that we should know about what happens next? So we've just organized the first presidency, not we, but they just organized the first presidency. What happens in the next week to 2 weeks? We still have a vacancy.
Yes, there is a a vacancy in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. We know that that vacancy will most likely be filled sometime between now and the end of General Conference in April. In recent years, that's been done different ways. Elder Patrick Kieran, the most recently added member of the Quorum of the 12, was added in December. And so they did not wait to General Conference to sustain him and ordain him a member of that quorum. But before that, both Elder Suarez and Elder Gong were added when President Nelson took his office in January. He waited until General Conference to sustain those two new apostles. And so for sure in the next few months we'll get a new member of the Quorum of the 12. And then, like I said, I think we're just going to feel a continuation, a continued call for unity, and this idea that the Church of Jesus Christ can be a light in a continually darkening world.
Any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Just that I think this is such an exciting time for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We have come to know these men for so many years. We love them, we respect them, we're excited to follow them, and I think we'll see increased unity among members of the church and actually in the church's outreach to members of other faiths and other communities.
One more thing before I let you go. Talk about this announcement. We haven't had an announcement like this for many years. So was there something different about today's announcement or just the formality of it?
This announcement parallels when President Russell M. Nelson made a similar announcement in the annex to the Salt Lake Temple. The one thing that was different was after President Nelson's announcement, there was a press conference. I think the church has become continually global in recent years, and so I think they're looking for ways to communicate to a totally global audience, and so I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from this new First Presidency. I hope that we hear from them as soon as this week.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. That's Sarah Weaver, editor of the Deseret News, but also previous editor of the Church News.
Appreciate you being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Mm-hmm. Maria Shilaos, along with Holly Richardson and Don Brinkerhoff. And Don, you were telling us about some of your favorite scriptures that you had heard.
You know, one of the, I think it may be one of President Oaks's most referred to talks. It gets brought up many times in different meetings, and he taught us about good, better, and best.
A childhood experience introduced me to the idea that some choices are good, but others are better. I lived for 2 years on a farm. We rarely went to town. Our Christmas shopping was done in the Sears Roebuck catalog. I spent hours poring over its pages. For the rural families of that day, catalog pages were like the shopping mall or the internet of our time. Something about some displays of merchandise in the catalog fixed itself in my mind. There were 3 degrees of quality: good, better, and best. For example, some men's shoes were labeled good, $1.84, some better, $2.98, and some best, $3.45. As we consider various choices, we should remember that it is not enough that something is good. Other choices are better, and still others are best. Even though a particular choice is more costly, its far greater value may make it the best choice of all.
So, John, thank you again for joining us. One of the things, too, we just heard from Sarah Weaver talking about how President Oaks has talked about loving each other. In fact, I heard it when he gave his brief remarks just now as the new president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where he said, we are here to be the church for the entire world. We love, basically I'm paraphrasing, of course, but we love the people of this world. What can you share with us about that?
You know, one of the talks that maybe one of his most memorable talks was actually entitled "Loving Others and Dealing with Differences," And the theme, as Sarah was talking about, was tolerance, and especially of some of those marginalized communities that there's been maybe a little bit of strife with in the past.
In the concluding days of his mortal ministry, Jesus gave his disciples what he called a new commandment. Repeated 3 times, that commandment was simple but difficult. Love one another as I have loved you. The teaching to love one another had been a central teaching of the Savior's ministry. The second great commandment was love thy neighbor as thyself. Jesus even taught, love your enemies. But the commandment to love others as he had loved his flock was to his disciples and is to us a challenge that was unique.
All right, Don, thank you for sharing those talks with us. We are joined in studio now with Carol Makita. Carol, again, we are telling folks that the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints has announced the new First Presidency with President Dallin H. Oaks called as the new president of the church. And Holly Richardson is with me in studio as well. So talk about his first remarks.
Well, he obviously has said that he is speaking to a worldwide audience and wanted in this first announcement to speak to all Latter-day Saints and those who are friends of the church or interested parties of the church to know that he is humbled by this call. His very best friend was President Russell M. Nelson, and that he is honored to be following as the 18th president of the church, and grateful for all of the prayers that have been said in these intervening weeks since the passing of President Nelson, and also reassuring people that this is a church run by the Lord Jesus Christ, and the First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 are following his wishes for moving forward. It's a humbling time, as Elder Christofferson said, for them to move forward now.
We do have those remarks now, so let's listen to them.
I am pleased to announce that we have a new First Presidency. After an extended process of fasting and prayer, I have been inspired by the Lord to call President Henry B. Eyring as First Counselor and President D. Todd Christofferson as Second Counselor in the First Presidency. At this time, we also announce that President Jeffrey R. Holland, under a newly conferred title, is the President of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. I'm grateful that each of these men, whom I admire and know so well, have accepted these sacred callings.
So one of the things, this is Holly Richardson again, one of the things I noticed is that he just said that President Holland, now instead of acting president of the Quorum of the 12, he is now the president of the Quorum of the 12, because previously it was President Oaks who had that. So Carol, we have Carol Makita in studio, and I wondered what your thoughts were about his choice of counselors. It's interesting to me.
Yes, and I think we have with President Eyring a rich legacy here. This is the 4th time that he has been in a first presidency, and so he brings all of that experience and all of that knowledge with him. He and President Oaks spent some time in their careers as educators, and so you have that also coming forward in this new first presidency with Elder Christofferson, who is having his first experience as a member of a first presidency. He joins President Oaks as two great legal minds, and so they bring from their careers those experiences in law. And I think we can agree, as you see these men looking out to the future, that everything that they have experienced in the past will be of great use to them as they move forward. Yes, they did a 180-degree away from careers to become religious leaders, but all of that knowledge has stayed with them. All of that experience has stayed with them. So I think that's important.
So we do have President D. Todd Christofferson, now the second counselor in the first presidency. He seemed a little taken aback by his new calling, and here's what he had to say.
I confess that this is not what I expected when I woke up this morning. But I am deeply honored by this calling and the trust that it carries. At the same time, I recognize that I'm not called to be honored, but called to serve. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve at the side of President Dallin H. Oaks and Henry B. Eyring. I recall many years ago slipping into a meeting in Washington, D.C., where I was not invited, but I wanted to hear Dallin H. Oaks, who was speaking. He made a lot of sense then, as he always does and has and does now, and I was most impressed with his many qualities, his intellect, but most of all his spiritual depth. And I bear witness, as one who's been part of the process, that he is called of God in this current position, this weighty responsibility. And my prayers, my wife's prayers, are with yours for him and his success and the Lord's constant blessings upon him. It is Jesus Christ who is the head of the church. I know that. I bear witness of it. I'm more sure of it every day. I know him, I honor him, I pledge my life and discipleship to him in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
His humble nature is just amazing, knowing that his background, Carol.
Absolutely. Elder Christofferson was a graduate of Duke Law School and then went on to serve as a clerk for Judge Sirica. And those were very trying times in the United States because those were the Watergate days. And he has spoken openly, first time was at Oxford, about that time, and that he and the judge listened to those tapes. And then, of course, as head clerk, he was writing a decision that basically changed the course of the United States. So he was very humble for many years. I think very few people knew that about him. And perhaps many people do not know about President Oaks and his time on the Utah Supreme Court. He was a great legal mind and certainly considered by more than one president as perhaps a candidate for the U.S. Supreme Court. And so we have three men with of great intelligence, let's just say, in this first presidency.
I think it's fascinating that their backgrounds seem to be so pertinent today, right? That they have, Watergate was a while ago, right?
It was, yes.
But it's pertinent again today, and I think talking about the Constitution and religious freedom pertinent again today. I listened to President Oaks' biography several years ago, actually, and one of the stories that I remember was when he was asked to become the president of BYU, and he debated for a minute because he would have to shave his beard. And that made me laugh because it humanized him. It's like, well, I don't know, right? What can you share about what you know about President Oaks' time and maybe President Eyring's time as university presidents?
Well, I think President Oaks, there is certainly no coincidence that during that time there was a law school created at BYU, and he very proudly talks about that experience. He was a young university president, and also has talked about the fact that he wasn't that separated in terms of age. He was in his 30s, I think maybe 38, 39 when he became BYU president. And so he felt that it was an opportunity to become close with the students, that they had an opportunity to be at one with each other and open conversations, and he understood them coming from a background of education. And I think certainly President Eyring has been well respected in his educational experience as well. He's an extremely intelligent, a very gentle man in his approach to that. But in this time, in these United States and around the world, I think these three men will make a statement about all that they know, and certainly they have been champions of religious freedom more than once, and that will surface as well.
President Eyring also seemed to be surprised by his new calling. Let's hear what that sounded like.
I am equally surprised, as was President Christopherson, at the wonderful opportunity to serve in the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I love him, and I've always felt that he was urging me to be better, and that I was never quite doing it. And so the feeling of being asked, I believe under inspiration, to come and serve again in the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was, I can express the gratitude that I feel for the trust from the Lord, and the trust that President Oaks has shown to me. I love him and know him and can testify that I know that he is the head of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints by inspiration. I have seen the power of God come upon him, and it's been a reassuring thing to me to know that just as in the days of old, when Peter and others would lead the church, that the people would be able to recognize that that was the Lord's servant to lead his church. I've had that blessing, and I've had that assurance come to me, and I'm so grateful for that, and grateful for the trust, and grateful for the people whose faith I know will sustain us in this great work of the restoration and the final preparation of the Lord's church for his coming. I bear you my testimony that preparation is occurring, and that President Oaks is the perfect one to do the things that I know the Lord will want done. I am grateful to be at his side. I testify Jesus is the Christ. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Amen.
So, Carol, talk to us a little bit about process. How are counselors chosen?
Well, we had some insight from a biography about President Russell M. Nelson. You'll recall that when he became the president of the church, he called President Dallin Oaks as his first counselor, and has talked about the fact that neither one of them had any experience in the highest echelon of the church. And it was President Eyring that they both looked to. So he brought him in as a counselor, and they said it was a very steep learning curve for two of us, but he was there to guide us and help us. And so this, I think, this friendship and the knowledge of that President Eyring has carried through now with this fourth president is something extremely valuable to President Oaks.
And if you were just joining us, President Dallin H. Oaks has been set aside as the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm Maria Shilaos, joined by Holly Richardson from Inside Sources and KSL5 TV religion specialist Carol Makita. Carol, what can we expect next?
Well, there is coming, I think, in time, and maybe not too long a time, there's a vacancy in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and so there will be that call extended, and people will be looking for that. This is a body that has the responsibility of traveling the world, and I might just add, with their wives. We see these women traveling and speaking and interacting with saints and being side by side. They're very powerful women of faith that perhaps not everyone gets to see because there aren't cameras everywhere following them to every nation. Often you can see it on the church website, but not all the time. And so that's an important position to fill because those assignments need to continue. There are temples to dedicate. There are meetings to be held with church leaders in various regions around the world. It's a busy time. And we may see in time coming, President Oaks has hinted that it's time to take a look at the status of where these temples we are building. Where is everything happening, and is it on schedule, and are we moving forward, and do we need to reassess where we are? But in time there will be more temples announced, I'm sure, and perhaps a change in programs. Certainly President Nelson did a great deal of that. President Oaks may be taking a look at every single program in the church right now.
Thanks to both of you for being with me. I'd like to end with President Oaks' final comments. Here's what he had to say.
My dear brothers and sisters, in this small announcement meeting and throughout the world, I know beyond any certainty in my life that this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, restored with the fullness of the gospel that God has chosen to reveal in this dispensation of the fullness of time, and led by prophets to the present day. I accept with humility the responsibility that God has placed upon me and commit my whole heart and soul to the service to which I've been called. I'm grateful to President Eyring and to President Christofferson for accepting their responsibilities. And I'm grateful to the Quorum of the 12, whom I esteem and love also as apostles of the Lord Jesus Christ, for their commitment to follow the Lord's will through his duly appointed servants. I testify that the Lord speaks to the apostles of his church and through the apostles of his church, according to the organization that has been revealed to serve us in these latter days.
President Oaks says he's grateful to those who have prayed for him so far and are continuing to do so. You've been listening to special coverage as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announces President Dallin H. Oaks is the new president of the church, with President Henry B. Eyring and President D. Todd Christofferson serving as first and second counselor, respectively. We'll have more coming up on Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News. This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. They say friends are forever, but then again, a 30-year mortgage is a long time. Still, 32% of Gen Zers say they're willing to go halvesies on a new home with a friend or a family member, compared to just 18% of millennials. That's according to a new survey from the National Mortgage Insurance Corporation. Real estate expert Tina Tambor with the Cromford Report tells our sister station, KTAR, that there are definitely some drawbacks to sharing a mortgage with a buddy.
What happens if one of you passes away? If you have joint tenants, you might end up finding yourself that it goes to somebody else. You're owning a home with somebody you don't know. So that happens sometimes. There's all kinds of things that you need to take care of, especially when you're not married.
But Tambor says it's also not unusual to see people getting creative in order to achieve the American dream. And right now, that means sharing a mortgage with someone who isn't a romantic partner.
Buying with a brother or a sibling, buying a fixer-upper, or getting VA financing, FHA financing. So there are a lot of tools we have in real estate that help people with affordability, especially when things get kind of on the edge.
Tambor says regardless of how you are buying your own home, just make sure that you do your research and read all the fine print. There will be more housing and resources available for people experiencing homelessness as a new apartment building goes up in Salt Lake this week. CEO of the Other Side Foundation, Tim Stay, says this new apartment building will not only house people, but it will be a prep school where they can teach people the skills they need to break out of the homelessness cycle.
One of the challenges with our current system is someone who's trying to put their life back together, who's on the streets, is they can go in someplace for mental health services, but then when they leave, there isn't a next step. There isn't someone there to help them take the next step. If they need to detox, there isn't someone there when they're done to take the next step. And that's what we're able to do, is we're able to help someone who has all these challenges ahead of them. We can take them to a detox, we can take them to mental health services, we can take them to medical health services, but then we'll pick them up and we can still house them while they take the next step in their progression of putting their life back together. So we think it'll be a substantial benefit in helping those who've been really stuck. Our average resident who comes into this facility has been homeless for over 9 years. So these are people who've really been caught in the system for a long time.
It will house over 100 people.
It's for 18 and up, and it's really, rather than, we certainly will help people if they don't have their GED, get their GED, but it's really primarily, let's learn the life skills necessary to thrive, to live independently. And often, someone who's been on the streets for that many years, sometimes 10, 20 years, you need to relearn some skills to be able to function in society. And that's really what the prep school is, to learn those skills necessary to thrive.
The new apartment building will be going up near 7th East and 100 South. It started assembly yesterday and will be finished by the end of the week. Most residents will be able to stay at the prep school for 6 months a year, and after that, the other side will help them transition into other housing resources nearby. Coming up, a real-life great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
In Utah County, we have a crash blocking a right lane on the exit ramp from northbound I-15 at Lehigh Main Street. And in Salt Lake County, an accident northbound I-15 about 1300 south. It's been moved out of traffic to the shoulder. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
How do they get so excited about 50 yards?
Think of what you could sew with that.
But you need a really great sewing machine, a Bernina.
Get Bernina sewing, serging, and embroidery machines and accessories at fantastic prices. The Bernina Super Weekend Sale.
Don't miss this Dave's Bernina Super Saturday one-day event, October 18th at our Provo and St. George stores, featuring 0% financing for 48 or 72 months on qualifying purchases made October 18th.
Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on all new Bernina machines. Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale.
And receive a free $5,200 gift bundle.
Hurry in for amazing bargains on trade-ins and just out-of-the-box special event demo machines that come with warranties.
Unbeatable one-day Super Saturday, October 18th discounts and clearance items throughout the store.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. voice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The Guitar Czar store in Murray is closing after 32 years, and they say it's partly due to tariffs. They're not the only music store impacted by new import taxes. Colin Campbell with Riverton Music says they are feeling the impact on all sorts of instruments.
We've had 2 or 3 price increases this year because of tariffs, which is probably the most that we've had for a number of years.
Campbell says more affordable models of instruments tend to be made overseas, which means importing new instruments for, say, student players just got more expensive.
Tariffs is a pretty big challenge for the music industry. Orchestra, especially orchestra instruments, violins, violas, cellos, the large majority of them are made in China.
That's not the only sour note at the Guitar Czar in Murray. They are citing changing shopper behavior and a slow economy as secondary factors in their decision to shut their doors. There's no set date for their closure, but the store is encouraging shoppers to keep other local music stores in mind for their future needs. It is rivalry week, and both BYU and Utah's players and coaches are preparing for what should be an epic battle Saturday night. Both head coaches were asked about the game as they kicked off the week of practices. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake says he loves the intensity, but he doesn't like some of the negatives that get thrown around.
I have a lot of love and respect for everyone that's involved, and so it's an honor for me to be the coach here and to be part of this game. And I think it'd be a lot more fun if we can have just value what and there's you could be a fan, and I'm just telling you, it's so much more fun be a fan cheering for your team rather than cheering against the others. You know, that's how I view it. But fans gonna do however they want. I'm just telling them, just try it, man. It's a lot of fun when you cheer your team on, and you show a lot of respect for the opposing team. It's a different way to do it, and it's a lot more fun and enjoyable.
Both coaching staffs are loaded with former players from the other team. Kalani coached under Kyle Whittingham for years, and Kyle was a BYU player.
It's rivalry week. Got to go on the road. I guess it's going to be a big noon kickoff will be there, even though it's not the big noon game of the week. They'll be down there, and so we'll have to have a great week of practice as always. Between the two teams, there's a lot of similarities statistically. Both rushing for roughly the same amount, throwing for roughly the same amount, scoring roughly the same amount. Defensively, there's a lot of similarities as well. Both in the upper third of the conference in most of the key stats, and so should make for a great matchup, and away we go.
But one thing Coach Witt would not do during his news conference is talk about any BYU players.
What have you seen from BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier?
I'm just going to focus on us this week, our guys, our coaches. So I'm not going to give much thought on the opponent this week. And so really, you have to ask them.
Our pregame coverage starts Saturday at noon with Cougar Sports Saturday. The game kicks at 6. Okay, you know that sound. It's time for another Cougar keyword. We're giving away a pair of tickets to this Saturday's rivalry game every day this week. You can always listen here on the legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio, but two of you will be able to go there in person. Okay, are you ready? The Cougar keyword this hour is coach. That's the word coach, as in Coach Kalani Sitake. Text the word coach right now to 57500 for your chance to win. That's coach to 57500. And join me again in 1 hour for the next Cougar keyword. Good luck. We might just have found the great pumpkin a little early. Associated Press reporter Lisa Dwyer explains from Northern California.
Pumpkins are a pride.
Brandon Dawson, a California engineer and gardening enthusiast, has won the top prize at the 52nd World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off in Half Moon Bay.
Let's see how much it weighs.
2,346 pounds. That's roughly the same weight as a small sedan or a large bison. Dawson says that while it is a hobby, it is also a family affair.
We like to spend time out in the patch and watch the thing grow. When it's picking up like 50 to 70 pounds a day, you can really see it growing day over day.
While he won't be able to quit his day job, he still won a tidy sum of money.
We're going to give you a check for $21,114. Yeah, baby!
2,300 pounds. Ooh.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake International is the latest airport to decide against airing a Homeland Security message.
We are just following the law, and so that's why we're not airing the messages.
The time is 2 o'clock on Tuesday, October 14th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Growing concern over political messaging in government spaces. Also this hour, watch your mailbox. Your ballot may be on the way right now. But first, our top stories. President Dallin H. Oaks has now been set apart as the prophet and president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In today's worldwide announcement, President Oaks also announced who else would be part of the reorganized First Presidency.
After an extended process of fasting and prayer, I have been inspired by the Lord to call President Henry B. Eyring as first counselor and President D. Todd Christofferson as second counselor in the First Presidency.
President Eyring says he's received assurance President Oaks is the perfect person to lead the church, and he's seen the power of the Lord come upon President Oaks. Lower-income students with good grades could soon earn a full ride to the University of Utah. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
President of the University of Utah, Taylor Randall, says they're on a mission to make their school radically affordable. This scholarship is called the Utah Promise Scholarship and is available for first-time Utah resident students with a 3.5 or higher GPA whose families make less than $100,000. Students need to apply to the university by December 1st and complete their FAFSA by February 1st to qualify.
President Randall says this is just their first step in their goals to make sure everyone has access to a quality education. Our top national story from ABC News. The man accused of targeting Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home with a firebomb back in April pleaded guilty today. Here's Shapiro today.
It's especially hard to know that he tried to burn our family to death while we slept.
Cody Balmer was sentenced to between 25 and 50 years in prison. Other national stories KSL is following. Instagram is making some big changes to its teen accounts, which rolled out last year.
The new moderation settings are modeled after movie ratings. For example, Instagram users under 18 will now only be exposed to the language and images you'd see in a PG-13 movie. Instagram's global director of public policy, Tara Hopkins.
We will never get to a point where no teen will ever see a piece of content that they wouldn't expect to see in a PG-13 movie. But we really are striving for teens to be able to have an experience on Instagram that a parent would understand to be a PG-13 experience.
Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day up more than 200 points, about 0.5%, sitting at 46,270 at the close. S&P down by 10 points, the Nasdaq down by 172 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
A crash in Draper just pulled away and has been cleared northbound I-15 at 123rd South. But the accident in Utah County still in the cleanup stages. Over to the right, it's on the exit ramp from northbound I-15 at Lehigh Main Street. Prep for winter. Get a furnace inspection from a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A reminder from Enbridge Gas. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Showers coming back later tonight. 70% chance of showers tomorrow, and a big drop in the temperatures down to 58 for a high, 54 on Thursday. Still that 50% chance of showers. It's 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Salt Lake City will not be playing a video from Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem at the airport. We'll dig into the reasons why coming up, but first, we wanted you to be able to hear the message that's been sent to airports nationwide.
It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government, and because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
Now back to the situation in Salt Lake City. We learned yesterday about other airports that had decided not to run that video message. Today, we are learning Salt Lake City has also decided to not run it.
We are just following the law, and so that's why we're not airing the messages.
Here's airport spokesperson Nancy Vollmer with more.
There's a Utah law that prohibits any municipal employee or officer from using city-owned equipment for political activity. And so those monitors that we would play that video on are owned and operated by the city. So we are prohibited from playing any political messages on them.
Vollmer says the video has not been running at all at Salt Lake International.
We were only notified it was last Thursday about the video and asked if we would be able to post it. So I don't believe the video was available before that.
Vollmer tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small it would not matter if the message had been critical of Republicans rather than Democrats. Either way, the law is clear that city-owned equipment can't be used to spread political messages. According to Vollmer, as soon as she got the request, she kicked it up the chain for review.
So I actually post these videos on the monitors, and when I was asked to do that, I always review it before I post it, and I did review it, and I thought, I was a little concerned when I saw the messaging in there, so that's when I reached out to our executive director as well as to our attorneys so they could advise me on the best steps to take, and I was told that because it was a political message that we could not air that on our monitors.
She says the decision not to play this video on the airport monitors was made without any input from other cities with similar concerns, though it appears their reasoning is similar.
No, we did not consult with another airport. There is Airports Council International North America is an entity where we have a listserv, and other airports share information. And I know that just from seeing some of the messaging on that listserv that there are other airports who have the same concerns and the same restrictions, and so they're not able to play the video.
Vollmer says she hasn't heard from any lawmakers on either side of the political aisle about the decision, but she has heard from members of the public thanking the airport for staying out of politics. China says it's not backing down from President Trump's threat to declare 100% tariffs on all of its imports. That's as new tariffs take effect today on lumber, furniture, and cabinets, all of which are expected to hit our Canadian neighbors hard, which translates into higher expenses for you. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more.
This is a pretty broad set of tariffs that'll take effect. We're talking about 10% additional tariffs on timber and lumber imports. So a lot of those, the wood that goes into building stuff here in the United States. And then also additional 25% tariffs on kitchen cabinets and upholstered furniture. So these seem pretty specific. But when you think about this, it's a pretty targeted set of tariffs from the Trump administration. The rates are actually going to go up next year, too. So paying for countries like Canada, the lumber that we import, the majority of it comes from Canada. So this is another problem for Canadian imports. We've already seen them targeted pretty heavily by the Trump administration. And then this furniture set of tariffs would hit people who are remodeling their homes, trying to buy new furniture. Kitchen cabinets seem specific, but 25% increase in cost, that could be a big deal.
Our choices may narrow down a little bit as tariffs come into play.
So before you might have picked the product based off how it looked, but now you'd be considering where exactly is it imported from?
We're going to be looking at price.
We are already hearing home builders and the National Association of Home Builders kind of sound the alarm about this new set of tariffs. They put out a statement last week saying that these tariffs will create additional headwinds for an already challenged housing market by raising construction and renovation costs. So another notch in what could ultimately mean higher prices for builders and potentially higher prices for homeowners and consumers too.
Elizabeth was speaking with the ABC Start Here podcast. She says with so many Americans looking to find ways to make housing more affordable, this is a development that's likely to increase rather than lower housing costs. So why target wood-based products? Elizabeth says you have to think about the kinds of people who are benefiting from this news.
One thing we consistently hear from the Trump administration and from the president himself when he announces a lot of these tariffs on Truth Social is that it will end up benefiting domestic manufacturers. And I reached out to the association that represents furniture makers in the U.S. to see, do they agree with that argument from President Trump? And they said part of their membership really does. In a statement, they said domestic companies that produce upholstered furniture that consumers buy as they see it online are celebrating these new tariffs. Because what that ultimately means, and I know we've talked about how these tariffs manifest, but it's worth reminding, when these tariffs go in place, if you are a U.S. business importing parts of products or full products from overseas, you pay, when that product crosses the border, an additional fee. You could call it a tax, you could call it a customs duty. That's what the tariff is. And what we're dealing with in the economy right now is, do those companies end up paying that higher price, or do they pass it down to their customers? But if you're a U.S. company and you are already making your products here, you wouldn't pay those higher costs. And, that's what the Trump administration has said. It wants to encourage, incentivize. Now, of course, bigger multinational companies like furniture makers, think of names like Williams-Sonoma, which makes West Elm furniture. They probably wouldn't be as excited about this because they have really global supply chains relying on different parts from all over the world. And in fact, we've seen the stock prices of some of those bigger furniture companies take a hit after these tariffs were announced.
That is ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Mail-in ballots are on the way to voters for those of us who have a municipal election coming up in November. Joining me live is Cambria Cantrell with the Utah Office of Elections. Thanks so much for being with me. Tell us, who's going to be getting a ballot?
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here. So, like you said, it's everyone who lives in a city with those contested city council or mayoral races, along with a lot of those new school board races that are in Utah County. And as far as like HB 300 and that side of things goes, everyone will receive a ballot still unless you've already opted to only vote in person. But that's only like a limited number of people that have done that, so everyone can still plan to receive a ballot.
Okay, so who doesn't get a ballot this go around?
So anyone whose city has been able to cancel their election because they didn't have enough candidates to require holding an election, or, as I said, those people who have already opted to only vote in person.
So what do we need to know? I mean, if I want to vote in person, what do I need to know?
Yeah, so Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. Early voting will start before that, but dates and times of that vary depending on the county you live in. So one of the best things to do is to go to vote.utah.gov and click on How Can I Vote? And then if you type in your address, that will give you all of the locations of ballot drop boxes, voting in person sites, early voting, everything you need to know there.
So for those folks who didn't opt in, how do they get a ballot?
So even if you haven't opted in yet, you will still be mailed a ballot so long as you haven't opted to only vote in person. But if by chance your city is holding an election and say by the end of this week or so, you don't receive a ballot, you can always call your county clerk's office. The deadline to request a ballot is October 28th at 5 p.m. And then if you're not registered to vote yet, the voter registration deadline is October 24th at 5 p.m. And with either of those situations, it's best to just contact your county clerk's office.
Right. Any other deadlines we need to be aware of?
Well, this year we're always reminding people that there's no longer a postmark deadline. You now have to have your ballot received by the county clerk by 8 p.m. on Election Day. So we encourage you to either use a drop box. They're secure 24/7 camera monitored, located in pretty much every municipality for your easy use. So we recommend that, but if you do mail your ballot, we recommend that you do send it back in the mail early so that your county clerk gets it in time.
All right, Cambria, thanks so much for being with me. That is Cambria Cantrell with the Utah Office of Elections. Coming up, it's official. We have broken the record for the wettest October ever in Salt Lake City. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
We're back to a crash-free commute. The accident on the off-ramp from northbound I-15 at Lehigh Main Street has just cleared. All lanes are now open. All Valley Freeway traffic in good shape with no problems. The Good Feet stores supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
Red Cross brought relief supplies.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th. New Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and autopay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Whitt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's TOW CARS. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Don't lose $111,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits on Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. The Salt Lake Valley has now set a record for the most rainfall in the month of October, and we are not done with the wet stuff yet. KSL meteorologist Evan Mashuli has joined me in studio to talk about it. So what does this next storm look like?
Oh, we have a pretty good storm coming through. A nice little cold front as well, and that's going to drop temperatures yet again. So we've kind of had weather whiplash for the first 2 weeks of October. I mean, we had really strong storms that came with really cold air, brought some nice mountain snow, and then dropped temperatures more than 10 and 15 degrees. That's exactly what we're going to see with this storm that comes in tomorrow. We'll actually begin to see signs of the storm tonight, so especially up in the mountains this evening, we'll have some rain begin to fall, and then even developing across the valleys across northern Utah and southwestern Utah. The storm will kind of circle right around the state all throughout the overnight into tomorrow morning. That's when we're likely to see the heaviest of showers through tomorrow morning into the early afternoon, and that will help drop temperatures from the low to mid 70s today to the mid 50s tomorrow afternoon, and it could be another good rainstorm. We could have a lot more rain to add on to our record month.
I liked last night's storm that came in the middle of the night.
You did like it?
The one on Saturday in the middle of the Ute game was not so much fun.
Hey, I mean, I don't know, because last night, like, sometimes the crackling thunderstorms, like, or the thunder, it actually scares me a little bit. I know I'm a meteorologist, but so hopefully people actually liked the sound of the thunder last night, but it was really loud, and it brought a lot of rain. I mean, it ticked us right over to the record amount of rain today in October, so there's more to come.
How significant is it to break that record?
Oh, it's pretty significant. I mean, especially because all of it has come in the first 2 weeks of October. So we still have 2 more weeks of the month to go. And as you know, we have a nice, good storm system coming tomorrow. So this is only going to get higher and higher for this record. Also, I saw that it was the 19th wettest month on record entirely for Salt Lake. So out of all the months, this is one of our wettest, at least the 19th wettest. And still, we have some time to go, so we could even break into the top 10 for the wettest months overall in Salt Lake. So pretty significant rainfall that we're talking here for Salt Lake.
What does that mean for our water year moving forward then?
I mean, it's nice that we're off to a great start. I mean, this is actually the wettest start to our water year. I mean, the first 2 weeks, if you look at that alone, this is the wettest start on record for our water year. So hopefully the trend continues where we get some nice kind of good storms, maybe not all at once like we've gotten over the last 2 weeks, but I would say this is a really good start. We want to have as much rain as we can. We want the soils to be saturated, not oversaturated, for when we get our nice snowfall over the winter.
But does it really show a trend moving into the winter? I mean, we don't know if this will continue.
Yeah, right? We don't know. At least what we can say, it looks like the pattern will remain active, at least over the next couple of weeks. It looks like the storm pattern will be active across the western United States. In a La Nina pattern, it looks like our jet stream stays to the north. So more so northern Utah is favored, at least through the beginning of winter, to have an active pattern. But it really looks like we're seeing some good storms. So I'm remaining optimistic.
Okay. Thanks, Devin.
No problem.
KSL meteorologist Devin Mashuli joining me live in studio. Meanwhile, it's a more muted fall this year across the country, at least when it comes to leaf peeping.
More than 40% of the country began October in drought, which might mean a shorter leaf peeping season with less color, according to a USDA meteorologist. The Nature Conservancy in Massachusetts says climate change is stressing our forests with severe weather and heat waves. This drought has hit the northeast and western U.S. especially hard. In the Rockies, peak color is now hitting Denver at the same time as the mountains, very early. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
University of Utah says it's going to start offering a full tuition scholarship to first-time in-state students who make the grade and whose families make less than $100,000 a year. School President Taylor Randall joined Inside Sources to talk about the Utah Promise Scholarship.
This scholarship is aimed at making the University of Utah radically affordable and accessible to students coming from families, as you already mentioned, who make less than $100,000 and have assets as defined by the federal government for student aid below $100,000. By the way, that doesn't include housing assets or retirement assets, just so you know. So it's really more liquid assets that would be able to pay for tuition. So it's a very, I think, generous interpretation of who will be able to qualify. Now, you need to have a 3.5 GPA and above to qualify for it. But we think it'll make the University of Utah radically accessible.
Randall says they want to spread the word to make sure students can start to take advantage.
You know, we'll be pushing this out to high school counselors as they begin to help students apply for college. We also have a website that's already up that explains it. In addition to this scholarship, we've also recently redesigned our merit scholarship. So anybody in the state with a 3.5 GPA and above will also be receiving some type of scholarship aid.
According to Randall, one of the U's motivators is pushing back against the narrative that college is unattainable or isn't worth it.
You know, the national narrative has been that universities are not delivering value to students and their families. And we hope by doing this that we just really push this value equation into positive territory for all Utah families.
University of Utah President Taylor Randall talking about the new Utah Promise Scholarship. You know that sound? It's time for another Cougar keyword. We are giving away a pair of tickets to this Saturday's rivalry game every day this week. You can always listen here on the Legacy Home with the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio. But two of you will get to be there in person. Okay, are you ready? The Cougar keyword this hour is win. The word win, as in Cougars win the game. Text the word win right now to 57500 for your chance to win. And join Jeff Kaplan in 1 hour for the next Cougar keyword. Good luck. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Legal action could result from a scary situation at a local music festival. Gas prices are actually dropping, but not necessarily here in Utah. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
No accidents, but we do have some busy traffic southbound I-15, Midvale to Sandy. Maria?
Expect a big drop in temperatures as well. Tomorrow it's going to be about 20 degrees cooler and a very good chance of rain. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump issuing a warning to Hamas required in Phase 2 of the U.S. peace plan to disarm. When asked by ABC's Karen Travers how the president intends to enforce that.
And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games.
The president says it will happen quickly and perhaps violently. 4 more deceased hostage bodies were recovered and turned over to the Red Cross and IDF today. The remains of 20 other hostages killed in Gaza have not yet been located. President Trump hosted Argentina's leader today with the U.S. signing off on a $20 billion currency swap with Argentina's central bank. That move has angered many American farmers who say the bailout allows Argentina to sell its soybeans to China. The president says China, by not buying American soybeans, was engaging in an economically hostile act and vowed retribution, including that the U.S. would stop buying cooking oil. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. The Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints has a new prophet. President Dallin H. Oaks has been set aside as president of the church after the death of President Russell M. Nelson late last month. He named President Henry B. Eyring and President D. Todd Christofferson as his first and second counselors in the first presidency. This has been the wettest October on record in Salt Lake City. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says we've had 4.16 inches of rain, and that gets us off to a good start for winter.
One of the reasons why this is so big for the state is because we're saturating that soil. We're getting our soil moisture back up. We're recharging the aquifers, and that's going to make for a better and more efficient snow runoff, snow melt season come spring.
Matt says when the soil is dry, it can act like a sponge, taking the moisture before it makes it to rivers, streams, and reservoirs. Dry soil can take up to 28% of the snowpack. Lower-income students with good grades could soon earn a full ride to the University of Utah. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
President of the University of Utah, Taylor Randall, says they're on a mission to make their school radically affordable. This scholarship is called the Utah Promise Scholarship and is available for first-time Utah resident students with a 3.5 or higher GPA whose families make less than $100,000. Students need to apply to the university by December 1st and complete their FAFSA by February 1st to qualify.
President Randall says this is just their first step in their goals to make sure everyone has access to quality education. National gas prices could soon fall below $3 for the first time in years and stay that way for months. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy tells Midday that we are transitioning back into the cheaper winter gas, but Utah's gas prices are lagging a bit behind.
I do think that Utah is in line for some nice price declines here over the weeks ahead. Salt Lake City also along with that, averaging $3.35. I do expect potentially by Thanksgiving or maybe Christmas, prices could be at or below $3 a gallon so long as we don't see new refinery outages.
Utah's average gas price today is just over $3.30. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day up 202 points, sitting at 46,270 at the close. S&P 500 down by 10 and the NASDAQ down by 172 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
No accidents reported on your freeways or main secondaries. However, traffic already getting a little busy and dipping below the freeway limit, running southbound on I-15 between the South Interchange to almost 90th South Sandy. Titanic, the exhibition, opens October 17th at the Shops at Southtown. Step aboard to experience full-scale recreations, see artifacts, and hear real passenger stories. Don't miss it. Book passage today at the TitanicExhibition.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Showers moving in late tonight and a 70% chance by tomorrow, but the temperature dropping down into the 50s, staying in the 50s through Friday and then back up into the 60s for the weekend. Right now, 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This fall, wrap yourself and everyone on your gift list in the original luxury, a blanket from Minky Couture. Perfect for relaxing, watching the game, or making someone stay. Stock up now for the holidays and give the best gift ever. Use code KSL50 for 50% off your entire order. Minky Couture, the original luxury Minky blanket and home of the best gift ever. Minky Couture and MinkyCouture.com.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell and Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now.
Let's go!
Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at UtahJazz.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A man from American Fork is trying to pull together a class action lawsuit against Red West Fest for how they handled the weather conditions over the weekend and their refusal to issue refunds to people who spent thousands of dollars to be at the 3-day concert festival. Derek Yerkes told KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson more about why he thinks that they have a case.
The lack of communication that we had with Red West was terrible. Like, they promised that they would, even on their website, it had mentioned that they would email and send out app notifications and all of that if they decided to delay, which they didn't end up doing, but they didn't stick to their time commitments like they were saying. It said it would be sent out immediately. People were waiting out in the rain for hours and hours and hours for a concert, and then they told everyone, oh, it's looking optimistic, when the weather report had not really changed, and people decided to continue to wait, and it wasn't safe. Clearly, as many know, someone passed away after evacuating the Red West Fest. It's just, it could have been handled so much better how they chose to evacuate it. They said they had plans in place, which it's clear their staff didn't know how to handle it. I've had hundreds of people DM me. We've had over 700 people fill out the form, and over 400 of those people have left their stories, and multiple people were manhandled by security. Myself, when we were trying to leave with my group of people, we spent nearly 20 minutes trying to get out of the venue, and we left right as they announced the evacuation, and we were getting shoved against walls, like pushed around. It was totally crowded. They refused to open the emergency exits, and then they also didn't let people in a lot of buildings, kicked people out of multiple buildings. It just, the way they handled it was extremely unprofessional and not what was promised. And then they tried to make it right by honoring Sunday's tickets, which is great in theory, but many people traveled here for a certain lineup that they weren't able to see and couldn't even go to the Sunday concert if they wanted to. And even if they did, it's a different lineup, not who people paid to see. And then along with that, what about the 3-day ticket holders, and what about all the people that bought Sunday passes that were claimed to be sold out months ago? We have screenshots of them saying they were sold out, and then they're like, we assured you it's under capacity. I don't know if that's accurate, but when we were there, it was absolutely jam-packed.
Yerka says he's already had about 700 people sign up to be part of a potential lawsuit, and about 500 people have shared their bad experiences with him on Instagram. He says no one from Red West will get back to him about getting refunds after multiple attempts, so he's currently trying to find the best attorney for their case. The next time you fill up your gas tank, you should see a difference in the price. The average price of gas nationwide has dropped to just over $3 a gallon, and we could soon see the price drop below $3 for the first time in years. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy tells me while the price is also dropping in Utah, we are a bit behind the national average.
Across most states, Utah is seeing a slight dip here over the last week, although prices are still a little bit elevated because of some of the refinery issues in the region. But for now, statewide average $3.36, down about a penny from last week. The national average, meanwhile, down 7 cents a gallon in the last week. It's at $3.03 a gallon, and it could fall below $3 a gallon here in the next week or so and could stay there for much of the rest of the year.
Patrick, talk to me about the factors that go into gas prices and why Utah tends to lag behind.
Well, Utah can lag behind changes to the national average just based on what is happening at refineries in the region. There have been several major refinery outages in California, and that can impact refineries in Salt Lake City, causing them to send or reroute their gasoline elsewhere. There have also been refinery outages in Washington State as well. So it's been kind of those issues where refineries are starting to move material to other regions that can impact negatively gas prices in Utah. For now, though, a lot of the seasonal factors should start to align, pushing prices lower. Americans generally don't drive as much as we get into colder weather. Gasoline demand being lower then pushes prices down. We've also made the transition back to cheaper winter gasoline, which should help lead to additional price relief here in the weeks ahead. As I mentioned, though, some of these refinery snags in the West Coast are starting to improve. A lot of that also because of the falling price of oil, which late last week fell below $60 a barrel. Oil prices today now at their lowest level since 2021. Some of that tied to uncertainty as the U.S. and China seem to be engaging in another trade war as China limits the export of rare earths. And that pushing oil lower could lead to even lower gas prices as we get into the colder weather into, say, November and December.
So will Utah and the western states tend to catch up with the others that have the lower prices?
I think that'll probably happen so long as there aren't any new refinery issues in the West Coast. That could, again, cause a bit of a supply movement from the Rockies out to the West Coast. So as long as the coast is clear, as long as new refinery issues don't happen on the West Coast, I do think that Utah is in line for some nice price declines here over the weeks ahead. Salt Lake City also, along with that, averaging $3.35. I do expect potentially by Thanksgiving or maybe Christmas, prices could be at or below $3 a gallon so long as we don't see new refinery outages.
Yeah, this is especially important. A lot of people travel for the holidays off to Grandma's house. What are you looking at for the holidays?
Well, again, continued improvement in gas prices virtually coast to coast. Now, there can be some hiccups from region to region depending on what's happening at refineries. And again, with a refinery fire, major refinery fire in California just a little over a week ago, that's still a bit of a sore spot. Supply could be limited, and that could impact prices. But I do think that as we get closer to Halloween and closer to Thanksgiving, gas prices should continue to move downward. Again, a lot of that because Americans simply don't drive as much, kind of progressively see decreasing gasoline demand as we get into colder weather, and that helps to lead to gas price relief.
Patrick, how does all of this compare with last year?
Yeah, looking at prices right now, Salt Lake City at about $3.36. That is 10 cents lower than last year. The national average also about 16 cents lower than last year. So, we're just under where we were a year ago. I'd say a lot of the reason for prices being slightly lower than last year is the fact that OPEC has spent much of this year increasing oil production, leading to lower oil prices, and that's helped push prices just slightly under their year-ago levels in most areas.
Now, the falling prices are welcome news for those heading to Grandma's house for the holidays. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
If you've been quoted for a new furnace or AC and it felt more like a sales pitch than a solution, you're not alone. Many home service companies in Utah have been bought out by big corporations focused on profits, not people. At Your Service Pros is different. Locally owned, family operated, 5-star rated and trusted by Utah families for over 20 years. Let them help you with their $49 furnace tune-ups, $39 electrical inspections, and $75 off electrical repairs. Because they know things are tight and want to help you prep your home affordably. Get a free second opinion because you deserve honest answers. If your system can be repaired, they'll fix it. If it needs replacing, they'll show you affordable options. Their goal is to earn your trust, not upsell you. Let At Your Service Pros be your pro and go-to for heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Call 801-YOUR-PRO or online at atyourservicepros.com. At Your Service Pros, 801-YOUR-PRO.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. In breaking news, President Trump is taken to the podium. He is announcing the Medal of Freedom to honor Charlie Kirk. Let's listen in to what he has to say.
October 14th is Charlie's birthday, and he should have been turning 32 years old. I tell you, when I first met him, he was like 22, and I said, boy, he's awfully young, but I thought he was older than that, He looked a little bit older than his age. That's okay, That's not good when you're old, but when you're young, it's great. He had the best of all things, but he was special. But instead, Charlie is attaining a far more important milestone. We're entering his name forever into the eternal roster of true American heroes. He's a true American hero, an amazing person, way, way beyond his years. And I'm honored to be joined by a woman who has endured unspeakable hardship with unbelievable strength, and that's Charlie's widow, Erica. And I just want to thank you, Erica. He loved you so much. I was with him. Please. Thank you, darling. Thank you. I was with him before I met Erica, and he told me he was going to get married. He said, "You won't believe how beautiful she is." I said, "Well, then now that I meet her, he's right." But then he also said, "And you know what? She's like the smartest person I know." See, they do go together on occasion. Not often. Not often. But on occasion they go together. But he was in love with you. He was deeply in love with you. It's great. Erica, your love and courage have been an inspiration to all of us, and we will always be here for you, and we're always going to be here for your gorgeous, beautiful children. And we'll never forget what your family has sacrificed for our country. Man loved our country. When things were going badly for our country, he was so, as you know, angry. He would get angry because he said it doesn't have to be that way. We're also pleased to be joined by an incredible group of Charlie.
President Trump honoring Charlie Kirk this hour with the Medal of Freedom. Coming up, ancient Roman history in Louisiana. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Ricky?
We do have an accident. It's on the collector ramp, southbound I-15, 2100 south, blocking a left lane. You can still make that ramp there at the I-80-201 I-15 interchange, but you will need to merge to the right and then get back over to the left. Again, this is on the collector, southbound I-15, 2100 south. From system install to fast fixes to delivering award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm Jenny Oaks Baker, and I invite you to Joy to the World.
It was sacred, exquisitely beautiful, and Jenny's talent on the violin is unmatched.
Featuring choirs, dancers, and My Children musical group, Family 4. Plus world-renowned mezzo-soprano Angela Brower and celebrated baritone and narrator Preston Yates.
It was just like emotionally stirring. The dancers, the singers, Jenny and her family, just bringing to life the beautiful music.
Experience a Christ-centered Christmas as we proudly support Light the World.
It's so beautiful to see how they use all of their talents to just testify of the Savior.
Get your tickets for Joy to the World, a sacred celebration at jennyoaksbaker.com.
Rivalry Week is here, and KSL News Radio has your tickets to this year's BYU-Utah game. Tune in every hour and listen for a Cougar keyword. When you hear it, text it to 57500 for your chance to win. We'll pick a new winner each day. The more Cougar keywords you catch, the better chance you have to win. Find details and sweepstakes rules at KSLNewsRadio.com. KSL News Radio, the legacy home of BYU football.
Join Community Action Services and Food Bank at UCCU on Freedom Boulevard in Provo Saturday from 4 to 6. Donate food to help BYU and Utah tackle hunger together. Every can counts.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore, and every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
You need a deck. You want a pool. We have a plan. If you're looking to start a home improvement project, a discounted home equity line of credit from Zions Bank is an easy, affordable way to turn your home's equity into opportunity. Stop by your local branch to get started or visit zionsbank.com/HELOC to learn more. Loan subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. See banker for details. A division of Zions Bank Corporation, N.A. member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 467014.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Measles cases continue to break out nationwide, and now we're getting a better handle on the West Texas outbreak that started it all. The outbreak began in January but wasn't declared over until August, and we're told it made more than 750 people sick and killed 2 children. Here in Utah, we have 55 cases so far this year. State epidemiologist Leisha Nolan says a majority of people don't need to worry, but we need to be aware of what we can do to stay healthy.
Most Utahns have no reason to worry about this. I think it's well over 90% of us have gotten these vaccines, either when we were quite little or actually some people quite recently. And so it's one of those things that's great to not have to worry for most people, but we do want to take protections for those people who haven't for whatever reason. Certainly the best precaution is the measles vaccine, the MMR vaccine. That vaccine is exceptional. It really protects people very well through their whole life. Happily, the vast majority of Utahns have had that vaccine. So most Utahns, this really doesn't need to be a concern for. We are certainly concerned for people who haven't been able to get that vaccine, maybe because they're little, maybe they're under 1 year old, or people who have immune conditions that really just don't allow them to get that vaccine. Those people, we would really encourage them to make sure they're surrounded by people who are vaccinated. Being surrounded by people who are vaccinated really essentially makes a wall so the virus can't get through, and that protects those people who haven't yet gotten the vaccine. And certainly if there's people out there who haven't got the vaccine, but it's an option for, we would really encourage them to take this time to go get it. Maybe for them or for their kid. It's a time to try to protect people as much as possible.
And currently, the state's wastewater surveillance shows there's an increased number of cases of measles in several counties across the state, meaning there may be more people who are sick than we are aware of. Utah County monitors detected measles in the wastewater within the last week.
Measles is a virus that transmits easier when you're closer to people and indoors. So historically, when it did transmit much more than it does these days, it would come in sort of fall winter waves like our flu would. So even today, it is concerning as we get colder and we know that there is measles in our state, that people could get it more easily as the temperatures cool down and people are closer together and transmitting things easier. We certainly have known we've had measles around the state now for a few months, and Utah County was one of the earlier areas that had somebody infected with measles, and happily that was controlled. But this detection now shows that there is at least someone who's at least traveled through. We've only had one detection, so we don't know for sure it's going to be stable. But at least someone who's traveled through that area who has the virus.
Some people may choose not to have the vaccine, while others are unable to get it for many reasons. So Nolan says it's best to discuss with your doctor about the risks that you personally face. Again, that is Utah's state epidemiologist, Dr. Leisha Nolan. An ancient Roman artifact was found in a New Orleans backyard this week. The long-lost grave marker is nearly 2,000 years old. ABC's Ann Flaherty has that story on the Start Here podcast.
Daniela Santoro had already lived in her home in New Orleans for about 6 years when she thought she'd tackle a bunch of weeds and out-of-control vines in her backyard.
So we were just pulling up the vines, and they must have been, even like a foot high and all tangled over here.
That's when she stumbled upon something amazing. A mysterious marble tablet inscribed with Latin that included the phrase, "Spirits of the Dead."
It was not buried deep, right? It was just sort of sitting there.
Now, if you're like me, you'd assume that this was a Halloween decoration and maybe donate it. This tablet's only about a square foot and an inch thick. It was laying flat in the dirt like a garden stepping stone. But as luck would have it, Santoro is an anthropologist at Tulane University. She says the Latin inscription in the stone was enough to make her think maybe this wasn't just junk. In an interview with the Associated Press, Santoro says she reached out to a colleague who's an archaeologist who immediately pegged it as something quite different. A 1900-year-old grave marker of a Roman sailor named Sextus Congenius Verus.
And when I first saw the image that Daniela sent me, it really did send a shiver up my spine because I was floored.
Turns out that the grave marker for the sailor had been missing from a museum in Italy for decades. According to the AP, the tablet had been in an ancient cemetery with about 20 other graves of military personnel just northwest of Rome. And just before World War II, when the museum was bombed, the tablet and its inscription were documented pretty much exactly as was found in Santoro's backyard.
To the spirits of the dead, for Sextus Congenius Verus, soldier of the Praetorian fleet.
Now for the fun plot twist. When news of the grave marker became public, the previous homeowner, Aaron Scott O'Brien, turned up with what could be the missing piece in the puzzle. It turns out O'Brien had received the tablet from her grandparents, who happened to be an Italian woman, and a New Orleans native who was stationed in Italy during World War II.
I was in shock about, recognizing our old house and next, this tablet that was my family's.
She says she immediately recognized the stone from news reports. She told the AP that she had always just seen the marker as, quote, a cool-ass piece of art. They had used the stone as a garden decoration and then forgot about it before selling the home to Santoro in 2018. All of this to say, I think we need to be asking our grandparents more questions about what's in their attic and in their backyards. And also a toast to the man known as Sextus, the Roman sailor who died at age 42 of unknown causes after serving more than 2 decades in the Imperial Navy. He was remembered by his stone as, quote, well-deserving.
Okay, Jeff, have you checked your mom's backyard yet? Any artifacts that are 2,000 years old?
What kind of art is that? Just asking.
Yeah, I won't say it again. Have a great afternoon. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. 70